Oh, God. The last time I played properly, I think, was with you in Melbourne in 2007.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, there was a five-a-side there. And that was sort of the end of my career. And I was in absolute agony.
It's very hot outside.
Yeah.
How do you react to heat?
Not well. Not well.
Because I was thinking that, but you had that TV show where it was was it Murder in?
It was Death in Paradise.
Death in Paradise.
I solved 25 murders.
Oh, did you?
In my career.
Which, as an Irishman in the heat, is fantastic.
I know, it's unprecedented.
But what was that like? If you're not a massive fan of the heat being in Paradise,
it was horrendous. I mean, people just wouldn't believe you. But you're under such pressure. Like I learned, this is actually true. I literally learned to shut down my organs, the ones that I wasn't absolutely using at the time.
Right.
The inessential organs. I don't know which ones there.
So you're like an acting Wim Hof.
Yeah.
Well, and how did you?
You had to. I had to do that because otherwise I would have died from overheat. Is that the way of putting it? Yeah. So you kind of like so I could slow my heart down. Because you sweated so much. So like you would do a little scene, and as soon as you shot the first take, you would have to go off and change all your clothes and be dried. So you had almost a full-time person drying you.
Yeah,
I had my own dryer.
But that's what I mean. I was thinking the makeup must be so difficult.
So difficult.
Because you're just dealing with constant sweat.
Yeah, and the costume, like the poor costume people, they would be dry, like you were just sweating. All your trousers just drenched in sweat. So you had to change, and then they had these big industrial fans to help you cool down.
Yeah,
and they would have ice packs which they'd put around your neck.
Yeah.
And then, 2 minutes later, you got to do it again. And then you're doing that all day long.
It's the realities of Paradise.
I know.
It feels like there could be like a sort of a grimy documentary to go with this quite jolly BBC show. Do you know what I mean?
I know, yeah. It's a bit like Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
The making of Apocalypse Now, which is a brilliant documentary, Heart of Darkness. So, yeah, I've always wanted to do that. But I think I signed a non-disclosure agreement.
Oh, really? Okay.
I really do want to write my memoir someday
Yes.
about my Vietnam, which was my time in Death in Paradise.
Fantastic. I actually took a little sneak look at yours. I shouldn't do this, but I looked in my neighbour's bin the other day. I just felt a compulsion. And I saw Lamine Yamal was in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about him.
Oh, well.
It's so specific.
It is quite specific, but he has changed my life a little. No, I always loved football as a kid, and I played an awful lot. And it was like a lot of kids. I was absolutely obsessional about football, and I wanted to be a footballer, for sure. And I particularly loved Barcelona as a small kid. Cruyff was my all-time hero.
For the benefits of people that don't know, Johan Cruyff was a footballer so gifted that he suddenly invented a move.
Yes.
Which is called the Cruyff turn.
The Cruyff turn.
Where you have the ball, you look like you're going to go one way, and then you sort of backheel it through your legs and you glide the other.
It was ridiculous.
And when he did it, it was the footballing equivalent, I would say, of when Michael Jackson moonwalked.
Yeah.
When the world suddenly went, what was that? And you could hear kids the world over running in their garden to try and do the Cruyff turn.
Yeah.
So that's me putting Johan Cruyff into context.
I broke my leg trying to do the Cruyff turn.
Of course.
But yeah, and so I always wanted a turn called after me, or something like you've got the Heimlich maneuver.
Yes.
You've got the which is a life-saving technique for people who are choking on chicken.
It is true though. So the Mr. Heimlich must have done that, and somebody must have said, "Oh, what's your name?"
Yeah.
After he saved him, Mr. Heimlich, and it kind of spread out.
Exactly.
Right.
And then you had the Fosbury flop. Do you remember
Yes.
the high jumper?
That's
he invented
right.
a new way of high jumping.
Yeah.
So I've always wanted something called after me, the O'Hanlon maneuver or something. I don't know what it would be yet, but that was inspired certainly by the Cruyff turn. So I love football, love Barcelona. Lamine Yamal is a 17-year-old boy who plays for Barcelona, and he is currently reinventing the game of football. I've hated football for the last 10 years. I find it dull. I don't watch it anymore. I think it's corrupt, it's bloated, it's all those things that, it's kind of rotten. And Lamine Yamal has just completely renewed my love for the game, single-handedly almost, He's this 17-year-old boy who's absolutely fearless. He's playing at the very top level of the game. He plays for Barcelona. He also plays for Spain, and Spain just won the European Championship recently. He was
16 at the beginning of that.
He was 16 when he was playing.
17, I think, for the final.
Yeah, and he's scrawny, like he's a skinny
Yeah.
little person, but he's absolutely fearless, and he's the real deal, and it's just beautiful to watch. You know, I used to play quite a bit. In fact, the last time I played was you mentioned Death in Paradise earlier. Like, oh God. I actually, the last time I played properly, I think was with you in Melbourne in 2007.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, there was a five-a-side there, and that was sort of the end of my career.
Oh, gosh.
So I had a history of back operations, like growing. I had two back operations, nothing to do with football, but I was fine for about 5 or 6 years. It was a grueling five-a-side match in Melbourne during the Melbourne Comedy Festival, and the day afterwards, I couldn't get out of bed. And I was doing I was going to Auckland the next day, and I was hosting a gala at the Auckland Festival. So like pretty big gig, on and off stage about 20 times. But I had slipped a disc after that five-a-side.
Yeah.
And I was in absolute agony. So I was in New Zealand for 3 days, and I couldn't get out of bed. I was on all sorts of painkillers. And then on my way home, so Auckland back to Dublin, which is a pretty long journey. So it's Auckland, Sydney, Kuala Lumpur, London, Dublin. Took about 36 hours.
Yeah, with a bad back, that is...
No, but not only that. Like, so I went to hospital on the way to the airport.
Oh my God.
And I got painkilling injections, and I was on a concoction of every type of drug you can imagine: amitriptyline, Xanax, you know, powerful painkillers, as well as the injection I got. And then wheelchair. So I was the guy who you'd arrive at the airport, and the wheelchair would arrive and take you to the next stop. And I was off my head, like completely off my head, and all the medication. So it was that was the end of my football career. It was an ignominious end.
Yeah, well, no wonder you fell out of love with a beautiful game.
Yeah,
because it nearly put an end to you.
It nearly put an end to me.
All your
Full
money.
stop. Yeah, and I tried again then a few years later. So when I was in Guadeloupe doing that show, Death in Paradise, there used to be a game maybe once or twice a summer. It'd be sort of Brits and token Irishman against the rest of the world, because there was a big French crew and there was also a local Caribbean crew. So they'd kind of play us, and it'd be a bit of a grudge match, you know. And you'd be playing like in excessive heat and humidity. And I remember like just thinking, oh my God, it's all coming back to me. You know, I've got the touch is there, you know, I'm controlling the ball effortlessly, and I'm gliding into space, and I'm putting the ball away. And I honestly thought I was brilliant.
You're back.
Until someone explained to me that because I was in every scene the next day, they weren't allowed to tackle me.
Right.
So I had all this space. I thought that's experience. You know, I just know how to find space now.
How were you allowed?
How humiliating was that?
But did you find out like instantly, or did you at least have a day to kind of like luxuriate in that?
You know the way
I've
when
got
you're
an image of you calling your wife. Honestly, you should have seen.
Yeah.
I'm finding the pockets of space.
Oh yeah, I was, and I think I scored a hat trick,
Yeah,
volleying, and you know, it's just amazing, and chipping the key.
Couldn't get near me, darling.
They couldn't get near me. I just and like, you know, I suppose I kind of knew, like, but you know the way when you're reliving the game, which I do for days after anything. Like I play, you're reliving it, and you're going through everything, and you're kind of going, yeah, he did kind of duck out of that tackle, you know. And
Yeah.
So you kind of know, but you know, I'm as deluded as the next person and in denial about things like that.